Greetings, Stars fans. I'm sure you're all as stunned as we are after watching that last game. If you didn't know, this is the Two Brothers Mic'd Up show. We sit down, we'll play a game of NHL, we'll discuss what we just saw in the recent Dallas Stars game. It was game 59 against the Arizona, formerly Phoenix Coyotes. Stars lose 6-3. As previous videos go, we always end with predictions, and we always start with the new video on predictions. Quinn, you liked a score of 2-1 for Dallas if they were going to come on top, and you liked a score of 3-2 in overtime for the Coyotes. I like to score of 4-1 for the Dallas Stars, and I like to score of 4-3 for the Coyotes. Almost got that one. I got one of those numbers right. So last season, the Dallas Stars, handled the Coyotes last season. They won all 3 matches, and going into this game, you kind of felt great. When I looked at the schedule for this month, this was the game that I was pretty much most excited about. When's the last time that you said to yourself, man, I really can't wait to watch a Coyotes game? Have you ever said anything like that?
No. I don't know why anybody would ever say that.
Yeah.
Unless you're a Coyotes fan.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, whenever they had Roenick and Kachuk and Hobby Bullen, you might have been interested to watch that team, but as of lately, they have Dave Tippett. He kind of coaches that Ken Hitchcock style, but I think his style is a little more loose when it comes to the structure of being physical and everything like that, but they're still a decent physical team. But this was a game that I was actually really excited about because of the rookies that they have. They have Max Domi,
Anthony
Duclair. Yeah, I always forget Duclair's name. And a couple of the other rookies over there. They're the best rookie class on a team this season, so I was excited to see what they would bring. And you know what? The game did not disappoint on that aspect. The Coyotes were actually really fun to watch. That team's going to be fun to watch for a long time if they keep those rookies all together. They keep that core together. It's going to be a treat. It's kind of like whenever the Dallas Stars, 3 seasons ago, you started seeing all these young kids coming in. You saw Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin flourishing together. You're like, holy crap, this team's going to be fun to watch for a while. The beginning of the game had to have been something that you got excited for as a Stars fan, right?
Oh yeah, especially whenever they came out, got the first goal. You thought, well, this is something to look forward to. They're going to keep building on this, and they're going to come out and play hard for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I loved the pace because you sat there and you watched over the past week. They had the back-to-back against Nashville and St. Louis. Those are grinded out games. Those are physical games. Not necessarily the Stars' cup of tea. The St. Louis game was probably the most boring game we had seen all season. So going into Arizona, that team's going to be flying because they have those rookies. So you're like, okay, this is exactly what the Stars need to get back into their game. And from the jump, they were playing their game. I mean, the Stars got onto them and onto them hard. Hell, even the fourth line with Fiddler getting a couple of chances. Eves looked really good. I mean, everybody was kind of clicking. And then 10 minutes in, we see a Tyler Seguin goal. That's the only goal of the period, but that's about where we stop talking positive about this Dallas team, because I'll read off the rest of the scores. In the second period, you had Domi 4 minutes in. Then you had Jamie Benn on the power play, which was great to see that we cashed in on a power play when we went 0 for 7 in the last game. Then you had Stone, Domi in to round out the second period. Then you had Hansel in the third period on the power play. Then you had Hemsky. They tried to keep it close. And then you had Gaudet and Vermette to round out the third period. So they lose 6-3. And after that Tyler Seguin goal, what happened?
I think that they thought that Arizona was just going to be a team that they could just bull rush and walk all over, considering that they're 22 points behind them.
Yeah, and when you go and you watch some of the post-game stuff, especially with Jason Demers, he goes off and says that, you know, they took that team lightly. They got surprised by them. Which, when you hear that, do you buy that at all?
Whenever I hear any professional team say that they were surprised on how another professional team played, I think that's kind of like the stupidest thing you can say.
Yeah, I mean,
because you are a professional team playing in a professional hockey league.
Yeah, and you have scouting and you have all this kind of stuff. You get prepared for every game, no matter how much time you have between games. And they had a day to prepare for Phoenix. They knew everything that Phoenix was going to bring to this game. I mean, they have a video coach. They have coaches that prepare you for this stuff. And for Jason to say that their speed caught them and they were a little unprepared for this game, I don't buy that at all. And Jason had probably the worst game of the season, maybe career. I don't know. I didn't really follow him in San Jose. But as a Dallas Star, I think that had to have been his worst game. And I think Jamie Benn said it a little better with his comments, saying that it was just embarrassing. They did kind of take them lightly. But the thing is that Dallas saw what they could do to this team if they had their foot down on the gas. If they had just applied that pressure. Because you know what? They played for 12 minutes, all right? They had they got that goal from Seguin at the 9:38 mark, so they played up into that 10 minutes, the little bit after Seguin got that goal, and then I count a minute each for the other two goals. So they played 12 minutes of hockey, really good hockey, against a not even in the playoff picture team. And that's been a problem that even going back to the beginning of the season, that they played down too much to their opponent. But I think Phoenix is a different class of team than, say, your Edmonton. I think Phoenix's class of rookies is probably going to be better than Edmonton's class probably will ever be, because we're seeing like really good speed, some grit as well. I think they're building that team really well. And to go back to Demers saying they got surprised, I just don't buy it.
Yeah, you definitely see at least Domi being a future leader for that team.
Yeah. And on Domi's first goal, he blows by Demers. I guess in a sense, Demers might have thought, okay, well, maybe he's not going to blow past me there. But Demers is able to catch up to him, but he just isn't strong on a stick. The Stone goal, whenever someone is just able to stand in front of Niemi, Hansel stands there. No one gets him. No one tries to box him out. Demers again. The second Domi goal is Goligoski look, I will say that the play at the blue line, if he had been able to catch it and not have it like bounce over his stick whenever he catches it out of the air, would have been a great play. But he just completely gives up in a sense to where he doesn't pick up the trailing man, which is Domi. Klingberg is back to stop Duclair. Niemi gets the stop, and the thing about it is that Goligoski even takes a look that Domi is coming and pretty much forgets about him. And Domi's able to just skate in and put his stick down on the puck. Like, get your stick down and then lift his stick up. Like, he's a rookie. Goligoski's been in this league for forever. I don't care if he's stronger. You should know how to take your position and, box him out to where he is not a factor. Don't let him come up behind you and get that jump on you. It was completely unacceptable by this whole defensive core. Klingberg had some bad plays. And then the Hansel power play goal, he's just standing right there in the middle of the net, right there in front of Niemi. No one is on him. No one is boxing him out. They just let him stand there.
And that's becoming probably one of the main problems on this PK now, is that they're playing a solid box, which a lot of teams teach. But the thing is, like, a lot of the other teams also have one man on the person in front of the net trying to push him out of the way, get him out of there so the goalie can see. You see two defensemen on either side of the post, and then you see the opponent just standing in front of Niemi doing whatever the fuck he pleases.
Yeah.
Like, that is the number one thing that frustrates me about this PK, is that nobody does anything about him. And then when you top that off with no pressure, no aggression on the point has all day to take the perfect shot.
See, and that's what I liked about what St. Louis does with their PK. They're pressuring all the time. Granted, that could bite you in the ass, but if you're able to play a good pressure to where you're forcing them to make the mistakes, that works so much better than letting them do what they want and set up and just hoping to get lucky.
Yeah, wait instead of waiting for a mistake to happen.
Exactly. I think Dallas is hoping to get a mistake instead of generating a mistake. It's becoming a problem. And then the Gaudette goal, I mean, Klingberg just completely just goes statue and just lets Gaudette just go around him, gets a pass, and he goes in uncontested for pretty much a breakaway goal on Niemi. Talking about Niemi, was this a bad game for Niemi?
Yeah, I've been reading a lot of posts on Reddit about saying that he was extra leaky today. He didn't control his rebounds good. But I mean, the fact of it is, like, when you take away all the bad defense, he maybe only let in 2 bad goals. 3 of the other ones, one power play where nobody boxes them out in front of him, so he gets right there, gets the puck past him, and then 2 breakaways. Like, I don't know how you blame all of this on Niemi.
No.
It's definitely a share between the goalie and the defense.
I look at the first Domi goal. Okay, maybe Niemi takes a blame on that one, but a lot of the other ones, they're rebounds or they're uncontested, to where they're just able to create the chances that they want. The Gaudette goal, yeah, I guess you can hang on him because he wasn't prepared for that chance. But I don't see this as a bad game for Niemi. He faced 32 shots, got beat 5 times, but 3 of those goals, one doesn't even count because it wasn't even on him. But the other 3, I don't hang on him. So, I mean, Dallas should have stood in this game. I mean, 32 shots with a 10th place team, or 42 shots from a 10th place team against you is just terrible defense. And it's not just the defense, it was the forwards as well. They started breaking down their coverage. Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin. Jamie Benn, a -2. Tyler Seguin, a -3. He was out there for the empty net goal, so I guess you can't really blame him on that. But they were on the ice the majority of the time whenever they were getting the chances. A lot.
And that's saying a lot, too, because Jamie Benn had 2 points, so that means he was out there 4 times whenever they scored.
Well, Jamie Benn got a power play. so that doesn't count against your plus minus.
Okay.
But no, I understand what you're saying is that he was out there to generate points, and he still gets a -2, and Tyler Seguin still gets a -3 when he had an even strength goal. So he technically he was out there for 4 goals, and I don't really hang a lot of this on Niemi. I hope that the coaching staff doesn't see it as a bad game for Niemi, but I mean, he tried as best as he could. I think his glove hand could use a lot of work with catching pucks. For some reason, he just can't do it.
And that goes for both our goalies.
Yeah, like he just can't seem to catch a harmless puck that gets shot up into the air. He can't catch it for some reason. The most disturbing stat to me were the hits. Dallas has 9. Arizona has 26. Like, that right there should tell you that Arizona, they did not start great, but boy, did they finish. They played a solid 50 minutes. Their goalie kept them in there. When you get out-hit 26-9 by the 10th place team, I don't care who it is. It could be the Washington Capitals that are in the 10th place, and you are a point behind being in first. You're the 3rd overall team. When you're getting out-hit like that, like, what are you doing? You know, you have to wake up. I know the coaching staff looks at these numbers like between periods. They know, okay, we're losing this portion of the game, we're losing that portion of the game. I mean, the Stars only got credited for 3 giveaways, which I think is super, super generous because they were just giving the puck up left and right. Arizona was credited for 6 takeaways, and I think that's generously low because I think they generated a lot of takeaways. They won the face-off game for the first time in like 3 games, so that's nice. But you know, it was just these chances. Like, Sharp continues to just stay dry as the desert they were just in. Like, he had that fantastic position right there on, like, kind of to the right of the slot, and he just has all day to try to pick to where he's going to shoot it, and shoots it right into the goalie's chest. And another thing, like, I mean, we've talked about it before too, that Dallas makes these backup goaltenders look like they're the second coming of Patrick Waugh. Like, it is unreal how well a backup goaltender plays against Dallas. Whenever I watch that game, I think a lot of people are not putting blame where I think some of the blame should go for this loss, and I think that has to go on the coaching staff.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
I think Lindy Ruff deserves not all of the blame, not the majority of the blame, but I think he does belong in the blame category because he put Spezza in the lineup. Granted, Spezza is a top caliber forward, so he needs to be in the lineup. But we saw him break up a lot of the lines that were clicking. We could tell that, you know, in that first 10 minutes, it seemed like everyone was all good. But then after that 10 minutes, everyone just started getting flustered and, you know, everything was falling apart. And then he's not able to get Jason Demers under control. Like, he even has to bench Jason Demers, which I think Jason deserves a lot of the blame for this game. But for this coaching staff to let this game happen the way it did, and for players to say they were surprised, the speed caught them off guard, I mean, that has to go on the coaching staff. I mean, you can't have players saying that you're surprised and saying that it's your job to prepare these players as best as you possibly can. Granted, you can have a bad night, and if the players were out there just saying, you know, we just got flat out beat, they kicked our ass, and we're gonna lick our wounds, and we're gonna try to forget about that game. But some of the players aren't saying that. And I think that speaks. I'm not saying that Lindy Ruff deserves to be fired, or I'm saying he's a bad coach or anything like that, so please don't take it that way. I'm just saying Lindy Ruff could have done a lot more in this game to try to break what was going on in that game.
Yeah, I definitely agree that the lines just were not the best choices.
Yeah. And maybe, I guess Jordy Ben and Nemeth were the best pairing, I guess.
That's not saying much.
But, it wasn't saying much in this game. And for Nemeth to keep getting the minutes that he is, I think, especially after that St. Louis game, I would have liked to have seen Oleksiak in this game. I would have liked to have seen Yoki Paka or someone get into this game.
I want to start seeing
if
the
they're
other defensemen.
If they were going to change up the lines that they did, why not shake up that defense as well? I don't think the chemistry is as strong as they think it is, because we're seeing these obvious holes in the defense. The offense is taking care of itself. Even if it has a bad night, it still can take care of itself. But it's this defense that gets exposed, and it's always in the articles at the next day. The defense this, the defense that. After this game, if something big does not happen at the trade deadline for defense, then something is not going right, because the way this team is built, they're not going to last out of the first round of the playoffs. They might get out of the first round, but I don't see them going any further than the first round. Now, you might say that I'm thinking too negative about the team, but it's the defense. Defense wins championships. Offense is great, but you have to realize this. It goes into the Super Bowl. The Broncos had the best defense, and they were able to win the Super Bowl. Defense wins championships. Offense gets you to the championship, but defense solidifies your team.
Yeah, this team right now is built all on skill.
Yeah,
there's nothing else in this game but skill, and that's not going to win you a championship.
Yeah, we need someone big. We need someone bad.
I'd go to say that we need at least 2 defensemen to round out this team, and a new gritty forward.
Yeah, and after this game, why aren't we seeing Stephen Johns? Why aren't we seeing him up in this lineup? Because he was touted that he was NHL ready. Oleksiak is NHL ready. He's a big body. He's tough. He's strong.
He fights.
He fights. Why isn't he in these lineups? It's against the 10th place team, so why not let the guys that have been skating for the past 2 weeks, why not give Nemeth, Jordy Ben a night off and let the other 2 come in that you're benching every game?
Give Klingberg and Goligoski a night off.
Jim Nill has repeatedly said he does not like people sitting up in the press box just eating popcorn, but that's what he's doing with Oleksiak. And then he even sent him down for a conditioning stint, but then now he's making him ride the pine again. But granted, it's probably not all on Jim Nill. Lindy Ruff has some say in who his lineup is, so it has to go back to the coaching staff to say, what was that product that you put out there last night? You can't honestly think that what you put out there after that game was the best thing possible. When you look at the stats of the game, you can't say that that was the best thing possible, especially when you get out hit fucking by the numbers that they did.
17 hits.
Yeah, it's pretty pathetic, to be honest with you. I hate to be overly negative, and I remember going back a couple episodes ago saying that, with these losses, I guess, that you take the good with the bad and you're going to accept that. But if they had just gotten outplayed the whole game, okay, fine. I'll accept that loss, but not when you start out as strong as you did and you realized how good you could have played against them, and then you just let them take over the game. And then it looked like the defense just quit on you. I don't think Niemi quit. I don't think a lot of the forwards quit because Hemsky had a hell of a game again. I mean,
yeah, that line continues to impress.
Yeah, Hemsky and Janmark continue to play really well. Nichushkin was actually playing decent, but he could have been better in this game. But it's your top guys that you really have to go in and blame, and then you have to blame the coaching staff as well for this game. I mean, a lot of people aren't putting anything on the coaching staff, but I think they do deserve some of it. Any other notes from this game that you wanted to touch on?
If this team just... Something has to change about this team. This team has to completely redesign its game. Because the way that they're playing right now, like, yeah, it was great at the beginning of the season. You know, they caught a lot of teams off because I don't think really anybody expected them to have the start that they did.
At the beginning of the season, I can understand getting caught off guard.
But 60 games in, like, you're still trying to do the same game that worked for you at the beginning, and for the past, like, 10 games, it's been getting shut down, and you've been barely winning these games. Something needs to change.
Yeah.
And if it's not going to change, I fully expect them to be contesting for a wild card spot. Because a lot of these teams that are playing with desperation are going to catch up to them.
I don't think a wild card spot. I think the lowest they might drop is to 4th. But I think they'll stay in the top 4 or 5 for the rest of the way, just because of the points that they were able to get whenever they're getting. Because, I mean, they're beating the best teams, but they're playing down low, but then everyone else is starting to kind of creep up. I mean, I think another game note that had me just, spinning was the 4-minute power play that Jason Demers gets a penalty, and then Sagan gets a penalty to nullify a 4-minute power play. I mean, that right there could have potentially put the game away for the Stars. Or it would have put them ahead at least. I think that was very, very poor. And then Jamie Ben's over passing. He's passing too much whenever he's in a prime spot, because we saw that pass over to Sagan. I mean, Sagan hits the post, but I really think I want Jamie Benn to be more selfish. I mean, that's all I'm going to say about it. If he becomes more selfish, I think he gets more goals and he helps his team out more. I'm tired of seeing him pass it off.
Being Captain Nice Guy.
Yeah, I'm tired of seeing that. I guess let's go into the ratings for this game.
D-. This team was just terrible. There's no. The only positive was, they came out and started strong. I don't even think the goals saved this game from getting any better.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to give my first I for incomplete. They did not play a full game. They don't deserve... I mean, it's not really an F because they stayed in the game for a little while, but they just didn't... They started the game, but they didn't end the game. So, I mean, there's not much else you can say about this game. The Stars play against the Boston Bruins in Game 60 on Saturday. It seems like the Stars are off away from the arena for a week, and then they come back for Saturday, then they're off again. What kind of predictions do you have for that?
This team better bring their grit. That's all I can really say about that.
Yeah, I hope they do.
If they don't, Boston's just going to pummel them straight into the ground. And if Boston comes on top, I think it's going to be in big fashion. I'd say 5-1. And if Dallas comes on top, it's because they finally found their balls and they start hitting and start playing gritty, and it'll be Still a tight game though, so I'll say 3-2.
All right. Sagan had his revenge in Boston with the hat trick, and they were able to win pretty well earlier in the season. But I don't think it's going to be that type of game again. Boston just lost to Nashville, I believe. I think they got shut out 2-0, so they're going to be mad. You're going to get the big bad bees in town. So if Dallas comes on top, I like a score of... I just like that 4-goal. If they find their game, they're able to get 4+ goals. I'm going to say it's 4-2. If Boston comes in and they push their weight around, and Tuukka Rask, who I presume will be in net, finds his game, rebounds, I'm going to say a score of 4-1 for Dallas. I think, or for Boston. I think whoever wins, I think it'll be out of reach. I don't think it'll be a close game. So, that's the discussion. Be sure to subscribe, share, like the video, give any kind of feedback down below. With anything like that, it helps this show grow. Remember, this is a show for fans, by fans, and as always, tune in next time.